a critical blow to unilateral trade policy. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit has delivered a landmark ruling, finding that many of the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration under emergency powers are illegal. This decision, a significant legal defeat for the administration, has far-reaching implications for both the future of U.S. trade policy and the balance of power between the executive and legislative branches. While the tariffs remain in effect for now, the ruling sets the stage for a potential showdown at the Supreme Court, creating a period of intense uncertainty for global markets and businesses. Summary of the ruling. In a split 7-4 decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit upheld a lower court's finding that President Trump had exceeded his authority by using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, to impose tariffs. The ruling specifically targeted two key sets of levies: the reciprocal tariffs on various trading partners, and the tariffs imposed on Canada, Mexico, and China in response to what the administration declared as a national emergency concerning drug trafficking. The decision does not, however, affect other tariffs imposed under separate statutes, such as those on steel and aluminum, which were based on national security grounds under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. The court has placed a temporary hold on its ruling until mid-October, allowing the administration time to appeal. Analysis and legal reasoning. The core of the court's reasoning rests on a strict interpretation of the IEEPA statute. The majority opinion argued that while the law grants the president broad authority to respond to a national emergency, it does not explicitly mention the power to impose tariffs or taxes. The court highlighted a fundamental constitutional principle. The power to levy taxes and duties rests exclusively with Congress. It concluded that for Congress to delegate such a significant power to the executive, the language must be explicit and contain clear limits, neither of which, the court found, were present in the IEEPA. The ruling underscored the absence of specific language in the IEEPA, noting that other trade statutes where Congress has delegated tariff authority to the president use clear and precise terms. The court's decision effectively serves as a check on executive overreach, reinforcing the constitutional separation of powers. The dissenting judges, however, argued that the IEEPA should be interpreted more broadly, giving the president the necessary flexibility to respond to national emergencies with all available tools. Consequences of the decision. The immediate consequence of the ruling is a state of legal limbo. While the tariffs remain in place, businesses and consumers are left with significant uncertainty. For the administration, this decision is a major blow to its signature trade policy, which has been used as a primary tool for economic negotiation. The potential for the ruling to be upheld could have a dramatic economic impact. If the tariffs are ultimately invalidated, the U.S. government could be forced to refund the billions of dollars in import taxes already collected. A financial blow, the Department of Justice has previously warned, could lead to financial ruin. Furthermore, the decision could embolden foreign governments to resist future demands, delay the implementation of prior commitments, or even seek to renegotiate trade agreements. The ruling also complicates the administration's foreign policy strategy. The tariffs were not just a trade tool, but a geopolitical one, used to pressure trading partners on a range of issues, from trade deficits to drug trafficking. The invalidation of this authority could undermine the credibility of future unilateral threats and force a shift towards more conventional diplomatic and legal channels. Prediction and potential solutions. The most likely next step is an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Given the constitutional questions and the significant economic implications, the Supreme Court is widely expected to take up the case. If the Supreme Court upholds the appeals court's decision, it will create a lasting precedent that significantly curtails presidential authority on trade, solidifying Congress's role in tariff policy. If it overturns the decision, it would grant the executive branch expansive new powers in the realm of international trade and taxation. In the meantime, the administration could explore alternative legal authorities for its tariff policies. The president has other powers under laws like Section 232, National Security Tariffs, and Section 301, tariffs in response to unfair trade practices. While these statutes are not as broad as the IEEPA and require specific investigations and findings, they would provide a legal basis for maintaining some of the administration's trade strategy. The court's decision essentially forces the administration to rely on these more constrained and traditional pathways, shifting away from the use of emergency powers for trade policy. In conclusion, the appeals court's ruling is a profound statement on the limits of presidential power. It reaffirms the constitutional role of Congress in matters of trade and taxation, challenging a core pillar of the current administration's economic policy. The outcome of the pending Supreme Court appeal will not only determine the fate of billions of dollars in tariffs, but will also set a critical precedent for the future of U.S. governance and global trade relations.